Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you for joining us on History FM Radio on LiveParanormal.com and History FM. From paranormal to the unexplained history, it all happens here. Looking to enhance your radio experience? Participate in live interactive chat 24/7 with our radio show hosts and other like-minded people on www.liveparanormal.com, the only interactive social chat room supported by full interactive media. Stop by now and join in on the fun.
Hey baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is fiction. I'm a sorry sucker and this happens all the time. I found out that everybody talks. It started with a whisper, and now it's when I keep.
Hello, everybody. Happy July 8th. I was looking at my watch, and it said the 7th, so I am living in the past. It's Ben Hanson. You're listening to Explain That Radio. This is the second episode. I guess it's just after 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're here on the West Coast, where it's just past 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. We have so much going on this week. This is the second week of, the second episode, second month of the podcast. We thought we'd try this out, see how it goes. And we've got a great guest tonight. We had some bugs we're working out and everything, but I think we're getting there. I mean, give me a break, guys. I'm new at this radio thing, and I was new at TV not all that long ago. For those of you just joining, I host a show on the SyFy channel called Fact or Fake Paranormal Files. And we deal with everything from ghosts to UFOs to chupacabras, Bigfoot. And so I decided to do a show just kind of based on these very strange stories that we hear. There's not really a subject limitation to any of it. I have guests on that are experts in their fields, people who have experienced really strange things, and then let you guys decide, like we do on the TV show, is this real or is it not? So we start out with the show a little bit talking about some strange news, some strange occurrences, and then we have a few guests on, and if we have time, we'll take callers. So I would like to hear from you guys in the chat room. I do have two computers set up. I'm here with my friend Ernie Alonzo from the Haunted Orange Sea. What did I just say? The Haunted Orange Sea?
Haunted Orange County.
It is the Orange
Haunted
Sea.
OC.
The Haunted OC. Haunted OC.
Good enough.
You might hear our air conditioning in the background, too. It has been incredibly warm in the West Coast. I was in Utah last week. We had some days over 100, but out there in the desert of Arizona and Nevada, they've been in the 120s, 130s. It's like we're living on Mars, people. We're living on Venus. It's really heating up here. So let's get started with some strange news. This is very interesting. Russell Crowe, if you've been following the Twitter world, I was asked a while ago to comment on a photo. You know, he's Australian, mate. I used to live there, and he was down in Sydney, and he has this place that overlooks the harbour, and he was taking some photos. Actually, I think it was from his webcam, and it captured something, some camera he had set up, and it captured what looked like, a UFO, like flying over the harbour. No joke, for reals, mate. Anyways, he posted it, and pretty much within a couple days, there were some very good explanations, and it was, to my satisfaction, debunked as a sailboat with lights on it. It was streaking, the motion blur. At any rate, he's still really interested in this stuff. So Russell Crowe just recently tweeted a video posted by Jesse Ventura talking about ex-Minister of Defense Paul Hellyer from Canada. Now, he appeared at the Citizens hearing on disclosure, which was just recently happened in D.C., and it's just very interesting that Russell Crowe has taken such a personal interest in UFOs. Who would have thought? You know, every now and again you get some celebrities who are really interested in this stuff. He was it Ernie Superman just recently?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was in Superman. I haven't seen that yet. I chose to see Iron Man, and that was good. I've heard good things about Superman. Tell us in the chat room what you thought about both of them. But he was in that, which I guess Superman now has some type of a theme that's UFO alien related. So maybe all of a sudden he's super interested. Get it?
Nice.
In the UFO stuff. So maybe we should reach out to him. He might be interested in going on an actual Skywatch or one of these night investigations we do. At any rate, Charlie Sheen also is very interested in the paranormal. In fact, he recently said that he's planning a trip to Scotland to hunt for the Loch Ness Monster. No joke. Okay, so if Charlie Sheen already was not crazy enough with his tiger blood and with all the crazy things that he came out and said and got fired and now he has like 10 billion followers on Twitter. Now he wants to look for the Loch Ness Monster. He says that he revealed his madcap plan on Twitter, posing for a snap in what he called his hunting gear, a bronze battle helmet, along with friend Brian Peck. Sheen was flooded with encouraging messages from fans all over the world wishing him the best of luck with his mission. So there's some comments from people on Twitter. It's unsure at the moment whether he's really taking this serious, but he's going to go hunt for the Loch Ness Monster. He thinks that he can either find him or find some information to add to the intelligent discussion about it. So that'll be
the intelligent discussion.
The intelligent discussion about Nessie. That'll be very interesting. Something also about Nessie for all you Nessie lovers. Have right here information that Fox News reports, according to certain Scottish geologists or Italian geologist Luigi Picardi. He says there is an explanation for all these sightings. In fact, the shaking ground and bubbles, he claims, are not signs of a monster, but rather a fault line underlying Loch Ness and other nearby lakes. So he says that the various effects on the surface can be related to the activity of the fault. They actually went back to the 1920s and 30s and knew there was increased activity then, and there were also alleged sightings at that time which were increased. So that's something to check out. I'm sure with as much research has gone into that, somebody had to have looked into this at some point.
Yeah, you think that they would have came up with this years ago, but it's just coming out now.
Yeah, just all of a sudden, well, yeah, it's just a bunch of earthquakes and stuff. Also, very, very interesting, Jack Black will be producing a paranormal web series called Ghost Girls.
Just what we need.
GHIRLS. So, come on, guys. I have always said, if you're gonna do something funny with the paranormal, you might as well go over the top with it. You know, that if you're not gonna take it serious, then do a spoof, and that appears to be what he's doing. Let's see, he's got a production company, it looks like, with some co-creators and blah 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 blah. He's recruited several celebrity friends to make cameos, including Jason Schwartzman, Val Kilmer, and Molly Shannon. So it's a spoof version of TV shows like Medium and Ghost Whisperer. So he's going to go out and make, I guess, cameo appearances about an inept pair of paranormal investigators. So keep your eye out for that one. Well, what we got for you tonight, starting out, is something really cool that I was involved in. A company, Image Comics. You guys are into comics, and my family actually had a comic book store, so I know who Image is. They have the Walking Dead comic is one of theirs. Anyway, some guys reached out to me. It's been well over a year, and started talking about this comic called Hoax Hunters. And this is a really, really cool comic, but the creators said, your show Fact or Faked really kind of inspired us. And we got to talking, and I wrote a foreword for, I forget, I'm not a comic book expert. What is it when they come out with the first 6 or whatever, and they do like a special edition? I forget. Anyways, I wrote the foreword for it, and kind of related to our show and looking for the paranormal and what this comic is about. And it's really cool because it's about this team of guys. Well, I'll let them explain it. But being a comic book hero or a hero of any sort is very interesting, because I was just talking about this when I saw Iron Man just a couple nights ago. Okay, so Iron Man, Batman, regardless of who you are, okay, if you're not a comic or a superhero with like a special ability, when you're not dressed up in the suit even, how come, like, they could fall, like Batman falls like 100 feet, and he doesn't have like a superhuman ability, right? Mm-hmm. And he just gets up and he just cracks his neck, moves around a bit, it's like, but he's okay, right? And Iron Man was jumping at least 20 feet, like Tony Stark's, when he was Tony Stark, right? He's not in the suit. He jumps down on the catwalk and everything, like 20 feet away. I'm sitting there thinking, this is why I could not be a superhero. I cannot even jump down like 5 feet without rolling my ankle. And then I'm out. So I'm getting chased by the bad guys. I've had so many injuries. I jump, roll the thing. It swells up to the size like a grapefruit, and I'm done. So the bad guys get away.
It'd be the shortest superhero movie ever. Starring Ben Hanson.
Hey, if I knew I was expecting trouble, going out or doing arrests or whatever, you put on your ankle braces. That's just how you roll. But these guys have to be prepared all the time. And it was really funny to me because, like, I was thinking in the morning, with I feel like I've been beat up every morning. I feel like I'm getting old, and I'm like, I have to crack my back in like 30 places and roll around. I have this whole routine. My neck, my back, and I have to wake up in levels. Wow. I can't just have my alarm, go off and be like, and I'm up. No, it's got to go off like 10 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 3 minutes, and as I come up out of the levels, I start to like warm up and loosen up. It's like playing a game. Every morning I get out of bed, I'm getting in the basketball game. So, anyways, superheroes. That's why I'm not a superhero, but these guys did do something really cool, and they made me a guest in the comic book. So it's called Hoax Hunters, and I appear in the latest issue with their team. So I believe we've got them on hold right now. We'll bring them on the air. And we're going to be talking to Michael Morisi. He doesn't say it the Italian way, so let's see if we've got him here. Is this Michael?
Yeah. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, man? So,
I'm good, man. It's really great to talk to you.
Thanks for joining us. I probably had you on hold. I don't know if you could hear us talking. I'm still figuring this thing out.
No, I was. I was glad to hear some of the show. So, yeah, no, I heard it. It was cool.
Cool. Well, tell us a little bit about what it takes to make a comic book, especially for Image. Like, how did you pitch the idea? Is it like a TV show, or how do you get them to pick it up?
Well, the standard way is to give them some complete. I guess, it would be like showing a pilot in a sense. You bring them a completed sample that tells enough so they'll see what the series would look like, what it would feel like, what it would be about. That entire package of like completed pages of the comic, synopsis, character sketches and descriptions and things like that. So you put this package together and you present it to the Image, and they decide whether they want to do it or not. And we were just, lucky enough. They got Hoax Hunters, the publisher there, Eric Stevenson, who's a great guy. Liked the book, liked what he saw, and said, yeah, go do it.
Well, that's awesome. So, like, how long does it take? I mean, the whole development process, and how long have you been doing comics?
I've been doing comics for about 5 years now. And Hoax Hunters developed pretty quickly because, like, we started doing as a backup story in another comic, like this long-running popular comic, this horror book called Half Flashed. And we started as a backup in there, and it was like really because the creator of that book, Tim Seeley, myself and Steve Seeley, his brother, were all drinking, and he was like, do you want to do this backup thing? And we're like, sure. And then the next morning, we're like, oh wow, all right, we got to figure this out. So,
another good idea started by a drinking.
Yeah. It's totally. If you don't like Hoax Hunters, just blame it on booze. So that's how that was the dirty origin of Hoax Hunters. And we put some stuff together, Steve and I, and put a lot of work into it. The development took a long time from there, but it came together relatively quickly in comparison to how like other projects sometimes drag on for a long while.
And then is there like a negotiation process? And I don't know if this interests everyone else, but are you just like so happy to like have your comic? You're like, whatever you give us, Image, we'll take it. Or do you actually have an agent like work stuff out for you? Or
well, I do have an agent, but like Image has a unique system. They're one of the only publishers. I don't know a book, but comics for sure. There's maybe two that work like this, where basically Image says, okay, we're going to publish your book, and you own all of it. Like, Image doesn't own, the only thing that Image owns is their logo. There's like that eye, like the Image eye.
Wow.
That's the only thing that they own. They don't own anything. They don't own any Walking Dead. They don't own any of that stuff.
Wow.
So it's like your IP retained. Yeah, so I mean, you have, it's really hard to get a book with Image, but it's also like the rewards that you can reap. I mean, we had the movie option be picked up on it and things like that, so things do progress and things happen. It's really good for us. It's great. And Image still supports it. They want it to happen because, rising tide lifts all boats. That's good for their profile and everything. But, yeah, so there's really nothing to negotiate. They say, this is the money that we take for printing, this is the money we take for, for production and our costs, and anything else that's after that is yours.
That is so cool. I wish it was like that in TV. You can keep everything. If it goes big, whatever. They own your life. They own your whole life story if you don't have a good agent. Well, very cool. So,
I've heard that. Yeah.
Briefly, tell us what. Explain to everyone what the comic is about and where you guys are at right now in releasing the latest series.
Sure. We think of it as, X-Files for the reality TV generation, where Hoax Hunters is a reality show where the hosts go out to the world to disprove, cryptozoology stuff, UFOs, monsters, all that kind of, all those kind of things, like a fact or fake. But in reality, all those things exist, and it's their job to covertly, cover it up and keep it behind the scenes. We just released the issue that you were in, the Case Files, which is like our annual issue. And then in September, we're picking up a new story arc with a new artist, guy T-Rex Jones, who's fantastic. And that story arc will take us to the end of season 1.
Sweet. So the one that I'm in, because you sent me several copies of it, just to explain to people.
Yeah.
So there's this team, right? And the team, guys, so the team is like the Fact or Fake team, except they have a secret agenda. And they work kind of with the government to, instead of, like find out really if it's fact or faked or true, they're supposed to debunk it to kind of hide the secrets and for whatever reason, if it's a secret project or something, to perpetuate it. But they film a TV show where they're debunking things. And so the lead investigator goes on vacation, wasn't he, or something?
Yeah, and you take over, yeah.
He goes on vacation, and so I show up, and we go back to Raystown Lake in Pennsylvania, which is awesome because we're really there And when we were tossing around some ideas of, what I could do, I was like, well, just send me back to Raystown, because I was there with Jael, and getting in that water looking for a lake monster was one of the crazier things we did on the show. It's like pitch black. There's no visibility. It was like 43 degrees. We're wearing these dry suits. It's like, imagine taking a garbage bag and putting it over your head, and then and wearing like 5 sweaters and a neoprene suit underneath, and then tying it off, and then it's like you're out of this boat, and the field producer's like, okay, get in, and it feels like you're on a boat with like the mob, and they're like finishing you off, and like just jump in the water. So, it was something else, and I won't give it away, but you guys should go check out Hoax Hunters from Image Comics, and go out and go buy it. It's probably at most large comic book stores, isn't it? I mean, most of them carry like kind of a whole variety, a lineup of comics like that.
It should be there, like Amazon or Barnes and Noble and stuff like that. They should all have that, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, so go check it out and go see what happens to me.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a lot of fun. We're so glad you were like such a good sport about it. Let us have fun with it. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'd love to appear again. I need to talk about it more.
Sure.
I apologize. I've had a computer crash just recently. Got it back like an hour ago. So I've been meaning to like talk about it, tweet about it. So we'll get on that. But thanks for joining us, Michael, and good luck to you and you guys, and hopefully you have many, many more series left in the comic.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, Ben. It was a real pleasure. I'm glad we got to talk, and let's talk more. We'll get you back in there. It'll be fun.
Awesome. And maybe we'll meet up with you. Are you coming down to International Comic-Con?
It's like the first year, I think 4 years that I have, but I'm not going. I'm not going this year. I know, it's a bummer. But maybe if you're in New York Comic-Con, I'll be there for sure.
I've never done that one. I've got one that I'm helping out in Salt Lake. It's their first year, and it's pretty big. So I do need to get out more to those. And this year I actually forgot to apply for the press pass, and so I would be out there just like millions of others, like begging for a pass to get in.
Oh. Well, I'll send you an email of a guy to talk to who's really, really great at New York Comic Con. I'm sure he'll be happy to accommodate you.
Okay, sweet.
It's a great show. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you again, and we'll be in touch with you and get updates from you every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good rest of the show.
All right, you too. Talk to you later.
All right, take care.
All right, guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break. In a few minutes, we're going to have on a Bigfoot expert named Mitch Waite. Now, Mitch has been doing we're going to have him on again, at another time as well, because he's got two careers. The career before Bigfoot hunting was actually working for the government, for the military at NORAD, and very, very interesting stuff. He's over in Arizona, and I was over at his house, just met him about a month ago, telling incredible stories, a lot of which he can't talk about, as you can imagine. But tonight, I just wanted to focus on his Bigfoot hunting, because he's been into this for many, many years, and something that he has dubbed the Mogollon Monster. Now, I'm going to let him explain most of it, but if you get into Arizona, they do actually have trees there. Okay, this is a news flash. There are trees in Arizona. They're actually up in the forest area. There are forests. If you know the Travis Walton story and the UFO abduction, it happened up near Snowflake. Now, that whole area is known as the Mogollon Rim. It's actually a canyon rim that's up, and a lot of it is Native American land. But there is crazy stuff going on there. It's not just UFOs. It's not just skinwalkers. It's not just things like that. You've got a lot of Bigfoot sightings. So he's going to call in here a second, and we're going to talk about Bigfoot and what he's been doing there. He's been featured on several TV shows. I believe he was a guest on, I'll have to ask him. I thought he was on Finding Bigfoot. I know he's been on. They've used his videos on that. I know, and a couple of other shows where they've gone up there. So if we have time, we'll take callers. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back. This sponsored by Night Vision Ops and the Haunted OC. Actually, before we do that, Ernie, could you give us a quick update on the Haunted OC?
Sure. We have some events coming up that I want to let everybody know about. This Saturday, July 13th at 7 p.m., we're going to be investigating the historic Graber Olive House in Ontario. The location was featured on My Ghost Story, and along with our friends over at Darklands Paranormal, we'll be hosting that. We still have some tickets available. August. That's
Ontario, California.
Ontario, California.
Not
Canada. Not Canada. No,
hey.
It's going to be a little bit of a trek. August the 23rd to the 25th, we're going to be at the Las Vegas Paracon. Actually, Ben's the headliner there.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Well, I'm not a headliner.
Well,
we're doing a Skywatch. We're doing MUFON Skywatch. That's our next event next week. So if you're in Vegas, come on out there. A lot of very, very good, credible speakers throughout the weekend. And then Saturday night, we're going to go to Bonnie Springs, which is not too far away, to actually do a Skywatch.
Very cool. But then on the 23rd to the 25th, that's the Las Vegas Paracon. You're going to be at that.
Oh, that's the one.
Well.
Yes. I have Alzheimer's tonight.
Yeah, we'll both be there. But I will be at the MUFON with you, so I'm excited about that. Then, let's see, October 12th, I know this is a little ways away, but tickets are going to go on sale for that tonight. We're going to be back at Heritage Square Museum in Los Angeles. Our guest investigators are going to be Chad Lindbergh and from Haunted Collector, Jason Gates. So we're excited to have that coming up in October, and you can get more information at hauntedorangecounty.com or hauntedoc.com.
Awesome. Thank you. So, guys, if you're vacationing in Southern California, look it up. They've got a lot of cool stuff, cool tours they do all the time, especially in the summer. And Night Vision Ops, I have to put a plug in here for that. If you are looking for night vision, if you're a paranormal group, if you're a UFO Skywatcher, you're looking for thermal or night vision, I'll hook you up. It's nightvisionops.com. I became a spokesperson for Bushnell's line of night vision equipment. So what we do is I sell on that website, Night Vision Ops, and you get a hold of me, tell me what you're interested in, and send me a message. And, you know, the more you want, of course, I can give you a bigger discount, but I'll hook you up. So just let me know. Send me a message. Awesome stuff. We're talking about third-generation military-grade night vision that we cannot even export outside of the country. And then the thermal stuff as well. A lot of paranormal groups were looking for FLIR cameras and, you know, things like that where I'm sorry, I'm trying to do three things here at once. We're trying to have our guest call in, and I gave him the wrong number. That's my bad. Have him call this one, Ernie. There you go. Okay, no, so thermal equipment is FLIR has always been really, really great with us. They have top-of-the-line equipment, good stuff, but you haven't been able to get a FLIR camera for less than like $6,000 or $7,000 until the last couple of years. And if you go to Night Vision Ops, if you're in the market for a FLIR, not a FLIR, a thermal, we've got one that is packed with features that, in the same price range, I believe is a better deal than the like FLIR Scout. So you're looking at something about $2,700, and you're in the thermal game, you know. So you can take that out with you. I use it for skywatching as well. I've actually filmed objects that I could not see with the naked eye, and they show up on thermal. And after you've ruled out, okay, birds and all that stuff, and you're talking about like a triangular object, I don't know. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet, but I've heard people talk about, you know, cloaking technology and all these things, and I'm like, okay, I have an open mind, but it really kind of opens your mind a little bit more if you're able to actually film these things. And thermal, full spectrum cameras are something we're looking into. And if you do any video production, we've got cameras specifically for you to be able to video record off of, or if you want to capture these things, we have an iPhone adapter. You just slip your iPhone in there. So enough about that. If you want it, go check it out. We'll be back as soon as we get the right call-in number, so we'll take a little commercial break. This is Ben Hanson from SyFy Channel's Fact or Fake Paranormal Files. A while back, I got seriously interested in night vision and thermal equipment. We use it all the time on our show, but until now, you haven't been able to touch it for less than $5,000 to $7,000. That's a lot of Carnival cruises you could be taking. Okay, maybe not on Carnival. Our tech guy Devin was trapped for days on the one that lost power, and the people started eating each other. Anyways, I digress. It's still not cheap, but quality thermal equipment has come down quite a bit in price. If you're a paranormal group and you're looking to purchase a thermal cam like our TMX, which is packed with more features than the FLIR Scout, or if you're interested in UFO skywatching and looking to buy military-grade night vision that allows you to record high-definition videos straight to your iPhone, please check out my company at nightvisionops.com. That's nightvisionops.com. Mention that you heard the ad on this radio station, and I'll hook you up with an additional discount and a free cruise. Okay, maybe not the free cruise, but it's the thought that counts, right? Okay, it's always weird listening to yourself on commercial. And Devin really was stuck on that cruise ship. I think he posted a lot of stuff from the Carnival cruise, the one that was out there floating without power. And it's like Devin day one, and he's all happy, and he's running around. He's like eating all the food. Yeah, this is cool. And then day two, there's like helicopters coming in delivering food, and he's like a little bit more quiet. And you know, Devin's always upbeat, but it's like, yeah, come look over here. The sewage is starting to come up toilets, or like people, you know, day three, and he's like, this is not fun anymore. So to see the progression of Devin in is florid a word? Did I just make that up?
Florid? I'll Google it and I'll let
florid
you know.
Conditions. Is that a combination of horrid and deplorable? That's what I was looking for. Deplored, not florid. Anyways, deplored conditions. Quite an experience, because he was actually on, I think, Fox and NBC or a bunch of different places, kept picking up his videos because he does what he does best. He videoed the whole thing. But Devin's okay now, and I don't think he's suing Carnival. But, you know, maybe he gets some money out of it. Okay, so we've got Mitch on the line, and we'll bring him on here without further ado, and let's talk about Bigfoot. Mitch, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well.
Thanks for coming on. I apologize. I gave you the call-in number for the host, and that's why it asked for a PIN, and it was my bad. So
okay,
once again,
we're here now.
We're here now. So I was kind of doing a lead-in and telling people a little bit about when I first met you about a month ago. We talked a lot about UFOs and then a lot about Bigfoot, and I just don't even want, it doesn't even do justice to even get into the other subject tonight. And I know as I am, you know, federal law enforcement, you're the military, there's a lot that you can't talk about. And so we can save that for another night, but just as interesting. Tonight I really just want to get into how did you start into Bigfoot hunting?
Well, most of my relatives, you know, my ancestors settled northern Arizona, and so I grew up listening to campfire stories or family stories about run-ins with the Mogollon Monster or the Hairy Man, and you know, I was pretty skeptical. I was a non-believer until about 6 years ago, on 2008 Labor Day, Memorial Day, and we got some phone calls or reports since we wrote a book about the tales that we had been hearing from our family members and published that. Well, a lot of people started calling us with Bigfoot sightings. And so we got an interesting sighting and in this one particular area, and we went to check it out. And all day long we had seen nothing. We found no evidence or anything like that. So we stopped to pitch a cold camp in a flat area, and things went well. We went to bed, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, we woke up to the tent being squished down on top of us. And you kind of wake up with the tent right on your nose. And
wow.
So I reached over and grabbed the pistol and cocked the hammer on the pistol, and as soon as that made that click noise, whatever it was pushing down on the tent knew what that noise was, as it let go of the tent, and it popped right back up into a dome.
Oh,
and,
so you were actually, because when I first heard the story, I guess I just assumed that you just found that way in the morning, but you were awake while it was pushing down on it.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It kind of woke us up.
I bet.
So, I threw a lantern outside, an electric lantern, to see where things were. Couldn't see anything, so we made a dash for the car and we left. And the next day we came back and got our stuff. Well, about a week later, I was talking to a man that I just met. His name is Alex Hearn. He's a cryptozoologist here in the valley. And he said, well, let's go back up there and see if we can find any sign as to what it was. So we put together a team, my next-door neighbor, myself, Alex, and my grandson, and we went up there, and we searched the area, and we found all kinds of strange things around the grounds, lots of broken branches that were broken off the trees laying on the ground. And we eventually worked our way back around to the access road and walked down the road back to where the tent was. And as we were doing that, my next-door neighbor, his name is Kyle Barentine, spotted a footprint. And it was only about 30 feet away from where the tent once stood. And we cast that footprint, and that footprint was 19 inches long and 9 inches wide. And
this is one of them that I saw at your house, right? That that really big one. Now I don't know. I think I've never really measured my foot. I'm looking at it now, and I think isn't it supposed to kind of go along with your shoe size? I think it's probably about 14 inches or so. But 19 inches of a very defined footprint is huge. That's very significant.
Yeah, and you can count the toes on it and everything. So it was very heavy, whatever it was. It was very heavy because it sunk pretty deep into the mud. And so we cast it, and we just about that time the forest ranger of the area came rolling down the road, and he stopped to see what we were doing. And we told him about it, and he says, well, I've been finding a lot of scat that I don't know what it is. It's not bear, it's not elk, and there's too much of it to be a smaller animal. And he says, so there's something strange in here. And we showed him the footprint, and his eyes got really big.
Because he doesn't want to be reminded. He doesn't want to be reminded that that's possibly around him where he's working all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's pretty significant because those guys do have generally backgrounds in biology or botany and animal zoology sometimes, and they're familiar with the type of scat and stuff that they're seeing because they're charged to protect the animals and wildlife. So that's pretty significant. So this was your first experience. What we have some people here in the chat room. One of the questions was why the name Mogollon Monster. Now I know it's related to the Mogollon Rim. Could you tell people a little bit about the area there and what's unique about it?
Okay, here in Arizona, we have a lot of high desert and a lot of what they call lowland desert, which is cactus and so forth. And right through the middle of Arizona, stretching from Flagstaff to the eastern border of Arizona, is a band of ponderosa pine forest. And it's the largest freestanding ponderosa pine forest in the world. And it's probably 60 miles wide and 300 miles long. And so Arizona is a little unique because in the northwest you have forests pretty much everywhere. And so, Bigfoot has a lot of places to roam. But in Arizona, it's condensed down. And when you start looking for how a Bigfoot possibly could thrive, and not just survive, but actually thrive, you start looking for places that has lots of water, good clean water, lots of food, because it takes a lot of food to support a guy that big. It takes a lot of foliage because they are very cryptid. They like to hide. They don't like being out in the open. And they need the lack of man.
Right.
So if you can find those four criteria in a spot, you run a real good chance on finding a Bigfoot.
No, you spend a lot of time too when you go up there, because my friend Dana Harper and I have been talking to you, and we just about had it planned for this week, and we ran into some my computer and a bunch of other things I had to get to this week, but we want to go up there with you, and you're talking about getting to places where generally there's not campers for like maybe miles around, right?
This is correct.
Okay, and go ahead.
We'll be approximately 40 miles from any civilization, any stores or cities. There are some ranchettes in the general vicinity, but where we're going is wilderness area, and there's only one ranch that's still operational in that area, and it is kind of an attraction because it has an apple orchard in it. And we believe that this really attracts a lot of the wildlife, which would attract Bigfoot, not only for the apples, but also all the game that eat the apples. So, that's kind of the area that we're headed for.
Very cool. I'm so excited to get out there. I really, really am. I just want to do it right. So, with my friend Dana and I, guys, we're going to get together with Mitch, and we're going to go up there, and we're going to set up a lot of stuff kind of complementary to what Mitch is already doing. But like I was explaining to the audience before you came on, you've been featured. You've had some videos. You've been on a few different TV shows. What really impresses me is that if you go, guys, to mogionmonster.com, and that Mogion is spelled Mogollon, mogionmonster.com, you can take a look at this stuff, and he freely shares videos, photos that he's taken, and some really quite spooky stuff. If you take a look at, can you tell people the picture that I think you said was from a trail cam, and you just had to have it enhanced, or maybe it was from a video that you took a frame from with that face. Tell me the story surrounding that.
Okay, my grandson and I were out to set up some cameras, and we'd split apart by about 100 yards, and he was somewhat behind me. I was working my way up through a little small ravine, and there was a ridge to my right, a small ridge to my right, and I was carrying a video camera, a handheld video camera with me, and I heard some branches breaking and some noises on the other side of the ridge. So I moved up the ridge as quickly as I could, as quietly as I could. And as soon as I hit the ridge, I started panning the area with the video camera, hoping to catch any movement or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear it moving through the bushes, or I could hear movement in the bushes, but I couldn't see anything. And so after I finished panning the area, the noises went away, and we went about setting up a camera not too far from that area. And when we got back, we got the footage, and I posted it on YouTube like I usually do. And I got a couple of comments from viewers saying, you need to check out frame such and such to frame such and such. There's something there looking at you. And so I went back, and sure enough, I had zoomed right, I had panned right past it. I didn't see it personally, but I caught it on video.
Wow.
And
so that's a frame from that face that it's staring at you. Okay. So guys, you have to go check this out. I think it's probably on your home page too when you pull up the website. What he's been able to do, it's not, we like to use the word not enhanced but clarified. It's not that you're adding something to a photo, but you're taking away the noise that makes it unclear. And
right.
When you look at this, and I don't know how much you had to clarify it, but that face bringing it out is no question some type of a humanoid, but it's not human. Is that? Did you have to do much in clarifying that to bring that out? Was it more kind of like a lighting thing, or?
Highly contrasting it. The zoom was at maximum, focal length, so it was zoomed out as far as it would go, and so there was a problem with pixelation, and a little bit of a problem with focus because I was breathing hard from coming up the ridge, and the lighting was still pretty low, so a little bit of a focus problem. And
that's what I was going to say. That's what
Yep.
people don't really understand. Is that they expect, if you've got time, and well, first of all, you didn't know it was there. Otherwise, you could have,
right.
stopped the camera to zoom in and get I don't know if I could get a steady shot. I'd have my hand on my 45 and I'd be backing up really fast. But people don't understand that, especially in low light conditions. The same thing with UFOs and filming something in the sky. Even though technology is great, it's so far off from being able to get these really clear shots that we all expect.
Right.
So,
yeah,
what?
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because if you provide something that's out of focus, it's a Squatch blog, and people won't believe it. But if you provide something that's pristine, crystal clear, they won't believe that either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we deal with that all the time on the TV show Fact or Faked, because it's a human reaction to be like, right, that could have been easily done in Photoshop, when it's much too clear. And truthfully, I've found that the ones I believe are most significant are quite unimpressive. With UFOs and everything else, it's not framed right. It's far away. It's kind of like the good observers are really trying to observe and not so much focused on, getting it on video, unless you do that all the time. So, what kind of technology, apart from like the video cameras? Well, I should say this. I know you have a process and some really unique things that you do. So you were talking about when you go into camp, you like to sort of condition or habituate the Bigfoot to you and sort of get them used to you. Can you explain kind of how you do that?
Well, first off, is I don't act like the normal Bigfoot hunter. I'm a researcher, and so I don't want to look like any kind of a predator or hunter. So I don't take time to put on camels or a ghillie suit, or in fact I wear a bright red shirt. And so that's so that they know that it's me. And then I go to an area that I have figured out that they normally stay, and there's a stump in the middle of a meadow. And in the middle of this meadow, I leave them some kind of treat. It might be Snickers bars or Nutty Buddies or peanut butter or something like that.
That's awesome.
When I'm there at the stump, I really make a nuisance of myself. You know, I do Bigfoot calls, I whistle, I bang on trees and stuff like that. That's just to get their attention. And then I leave. And, you know, that's what I call a no-trick zone. Don't try to trick them. Don't try to photograph them. That is their home. And then I go back to camp. Well, for me to go back to camp, it's a 7-mile drive. But for them, they can cut across the saddle and drop down to where I camp, and it's only about a mile. Anyway, they've been smart enough to figure out which campsite is me. And so they have been coming down to the campsite, and over the years, I've heard them above the campsite in the bushes, moving around. They whistle, they hoot, they squeak. You've been able to kind of catalog some of that, haven't you? You've been able to determine like what it means, like when you get a certain sound. Yeah, it's you know, it's kind of like a cowboy being surrounded by Indians. They'll make a certain noise to tell the others where they're located and they're in position. Then they'll whistle, and it's a whistle. In fact, I can come pretty close to it. It's kind of like that. You know,
is it sort of like you?
Like a person.
Do you think they're kind of like whistling like, hey, the coast is clear type of a thing, and it's like their subtle way of letting each other know?
Well, I think it might be a combination of communication plus what they call it, like radar for bats, sound location.
Right.
So they may be making the different noises, the hooting and the squeaking and the whistling as they travel, because they travel, they're nocturnal mostly. And they basically travel the forest in the dark. And these are tall pine trees, so there's very little light in there. And so, you know, they have better night vision than humans do. They hear a lot better than we do, you know, and so forth. And so I think it's kind of a sound location that they use to be able to maneuver through the woods.
And I remember talking to you about that too, because it's a very legitimate theory. There's a blind guy we almost had on our show who is able to ride a bicycle, and he does it by clicking, and he makes clicking noises, and he can tell when there's a car or something in front of him, because he's just very, very perceptive to you know, if that sound is returned quicker or slower. So that could make sense. Well, very cool. Have you had any, like, so you leave the candy bars out there, and I know it sounds like a joke, but have you found that anything works better than others, like a certain brand of candy bar that they like more, and do the candy bars disappear? Have you ever had them actually, you come back and it's half eaten or it's gone or something like that?
Well, usually they're just gone. I have left peanut butter out there, and you know, they like the peanut butter also. And so I ran a test. I put a brand new jar of peanut butter out there with the lid still on it. And now this is what tells me it's not a bear and a skunk or a raccoon, because they unscrewed the lid, took 2-finger scoops, out of it, and then put the lid back on, screwed the lid back on, and set it back down on the table again.
Mitch, that is so amazing. That is so cool. Like, we need to go out there and film commercials. So when we go out, we should take like the old, Skippy peanut butter and the Peter Pan, and like put it next to each other and see which he prefers. I bet you if you got any footage at all, you'd have more than a commercial in your hands. But if we were able to put a camera, because I know you said when we were talking, I believe you had said this, that they know about the cameras. I mean, they will come and they will kind of push them or move them out of the way because they don't like being filmed, correct?
Right. Well, I don't know if they actually know that their image is being taken. I don't know how they would know that, but they do know that hunters use the game cameras to locate the other animals, and then the hunters come back and kill the animals, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like maybe an observational thing that these boxes on the trees are not a good thing,
Right. Well, I hope that we can set up some stuff. Now, I'm going to be I do have a tent, and I'm a little bit crazy. I know since you've had your experiences in the tent, you like to sleep in your trailer now, right? You don't like to be out in the open.
Well, they have come through and slapped my tent a couple of times. And that's kind of a rude awakening while you're sleeping.
I know. And for me, I'm probably stupid enough just to want to experience that. I will have, my 45 and some other guns around, but I do want to sleep in the tent. I don't want it sitting on me. I mean, we don't have much time. We got about 3 minutes left, but when I'd like to have you back at another point and tell people about the time that it tripped on your tent stake, something did, and launched you off of your air mattress. So
yeah, that was quite an experience.
I think being so close, I have not had any experiences with Bigfoot, and that's one of the main reason that I'd love to go out there with you. We have several questions. I think we're probably going to have time for one. Let me look these over really quick here. Someone asked, do you have any other interests or plans to study other types of cryptids, or is this your only focus of the Bigfoot?
Well, my main focus is Bigfoot, but yes, I do study other cryptids. I have an off season because the forest gets closed during the wintertime. The Forest Service doesn't want to go rescue people if they get snowed in, so they close it down, they gate it off. And so I have some downtime during the winter months. And I usually fill my time doing research, and sometimes I'll research other cryptids.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that place is Arizona in general is just a hot spot of activity for everything going on. So I'm sure if you're game, we'd love to have you back on at some other point. And we'll really get into the nitty-gritty of, maybe we'll have an update from our investigation at that point. That would be awesome. And there's no...
Hope to take you up there and scare you to death.
I would love it. And no cell phone reception. Otherwise, we'd try to do some type of a live, feed to people. Mitch does on occasion, if you're really nice and cool, sometimes he'll take you out there. But understanding that this is a location he likes to keep pristine and not have people tromping around it. So it doesn't give out the exact location. And so at any rate, we'll update you on that a little bit later. Thanks for coming on the show, Mitch. And everyone, we're just about out of time. We got about 30 seconds left. This is second episode of Explain That Radio with Ben Hanson, and we'll be back on the second Monday of every month. So I don't know what date that is, but we'll announce that. So retweet it, follow it, give us suggestions for hosts, whatever. And have a great rest of your week, and be safe. And we'll talk to you later.
won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is fiction.